With us now from London and CBS News contributor, that's Roya Nikkah. She's a royal editor of the Sunday Times in London, and she's covered Britain's monarchy for more than a decade now. Good morning to you, Roya Nikkah. You're the perfect person to have on this morning, the day after the interview. What did you make of Harry's explanation just now that he's not going to discuss it and leaving it out of the book about the racism?
Well, good morning, Gayle.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have to say, I'm very perplexed by this U-turn and this explanation here, because for the best part of 2 years, that narrative has been allowed to run. And I just have to say, I know the default reaction here has been to blame the British press for almost everything, but we all remember the reality that when those comments were made in that Oprah interview, media and commentators around the world interpreted it as there was some sort of issue of racism within the royal family. And let's not forget that it's just a few weeks ago Harry and Meghan attended the Ripple of Hope Gala in New York and collected an award that was billed for their courage in standing up to structural racism within the royal family. So what Harry is saying now is very different to the narrative they've been happy to let run for the last 2 years. It's very perplexing.
Well, the narrative that they haven't let go of is the complications that they have, the complicated relationship they have with the British press. And I'm curious about your thoughts about this. Throughout the book and many interviews, he says, listen, the British press and the royal family, the institution, if you will, are in cahoots, that the two get together and come up with stories, plant stories that are negative to him and to Meghan. What can you say about that? Does he have a point here?
I can only speak from my own experience of doing this job for 12 years. And in 12 years of being a royal correspondent and a royal editor, I have never had someone from a royal household ring me up in the office or at home to say, let me tell you this awful detail about a member of the royal family. That is not how it works in terms of how I work. It tends to be me taking stories to the households for comment and for briefing. But that was going on when Harry was inside the royal family too. I would take stories about Harry to the royal family. His people would check things with him. He would have a certain thing to say about it, and that would be relayed back to me. That is my experience. I can't speak for the tabloid media. But in terms of sort of this broad brush approach to the British press, that is not my experience of how I've done my job for 12 years. And I'm pretty experienced in this role now.
Can you see how maybe they feel this way, though, Roya, based on their experience? And
Yes.
Can you see how maybe this is how they feel? Because this seems to be their reality.
I absolutely do. I can see how they feel. That, you know, they talked about it a lot. I completely understand that there are some elements of the media that Harry has a real problem with, and he feels, you know, extremely antagonized by them. I can see how he feels that they've made certain bits of his relationship with his family difficult. But I think what's tricky is, you know, there's a lot in the Anderson Cooper interview last night and in the ITV one, suggesting that it is, you know, his breakdown of the relationship with his family is almost completely at the British press's feet, and that, you know, his father and his brother have a completely distorted view of reality because of what they read in the media. I think members of the royal family can think for themselves. I do completely understand where he's coming from in terms of feeling very antagonized, and that certain bits of the press he has found very difficult to deal with. But I think, you know, you've got to take a step back and remember, and I think he's forgotten that a lot of us travelled around the world with him and reported on all the great work that he and Meghan did for many years, and that seems to have been wiped out of the picture.
Roya, in an article for Sunday Times, you say Prince William is a punching bag for Harry. Now, although he may be silent, you believe that he is burning inside. Tell us what you have learned about his reaction to all of this.
Well, I did speak to a few of his very close friends last week to get an understanding of how he is feeling, and that quote, you know, outside he's handling it okay, inside he's burning. He's devastated. I think he feels, and some of his friends feel, that you know, a lot has gone on in that family. It is a family that has its complications like all families, but I think he never thought Harry would go quite as far as he has. And he's in a bind because Harry knows that William is not going to come out and address every single allegation. It's not how William rolls. But he's hurting, the royal family are hurting, but so is Harry. And I thought one of the most saddest quotes from last night's interviews was Harry saying, I don't recognise my family and I don't think they recognise me. It's really sad, and there's a long way to go for reconciliation.
I think it is sad. Do you think there will be a reconciliation? Harry makes it clear that he would like to have his father, he would like to have his brother. Do you think, but he also says he wants accountability. Do you think this is likely?
I really hope so. I mean, that was the strong message I was getting from sources close to Harry before Christmas. You know, they wanted a summit, they want an apology, they want accountability. The problem is, Gayle, that is trust. How can they, you know, there's an issue with the royal family being able to sit down and talk and speak and hope that will stay private. But I know deep down, all sides down the line would like reconciliation. So let's hope, let's keep our fingers crossed they can heal their wounds.
Yes.
Over a decade of covering the royal family, your information is valuable. Roya Nikkah, thank you.